Hello and welcome back to the Hair Show. It's me, Dom Lehane. So, we were asking Georgia what she likes to do in her free time.
Ray, I'm gonna be honest with you now, Dom. I don't much mind as long as I can sit at home, listen to my Oasis records, and drink me fruit shoots. You know what I mean?
Right, I see.
Yes!
So, Jordana, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Yes! 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 Yes!
Right, I see. And what do you think future hair trends will be, Georgia?
Well, Dom, I reckon the Rolling Stones said it right, mate. You know, with I see a red door and I want it painted black.
Yes!
I see some red hair and I want it painted black.
Yes!
Do you know what I mean? It's just the easiest fucking colour to do. Just black, everything black.
There we go. Welcome back to the Hair Show. We had to just drop that in. We're all sitting here in absolute fear. So you can hear laughter in the background. That's what it is. Welcome back to the Hair Show, Series 2, Number 2. And I've got to say, huge thank you to Brandon Messinger for doing that. It's just quality. So I think that's what we all need for a Monday. I'll be interested to hear Jordana's reaction to that one as well, Jordana. But yeah, brilliant. Great to have you all here. Yes, we are back. Loving it. I've had an absolute amazing day. If my voice sounds croaky, it's because I've been on the Weller Professionals Global Hair community all day, hosting lives there, and we are back here today, and still my favourite part of the week. I love this show. So the first thing I'm going to say to you all is like and share this show, because we need it to get out there. Let everybody know about it. I'm already seeing so many of the welcomes, so let's just do a few intros firstly before we head in. Hiya Lee, how you doing? We've got Susan there. Hi Susan, all finding that brilliant. Great to see you there. We have Emma there. Hiya Emma. And we have Lucy. Nice to see you, Lucy. Make sure I'm not missing Eileen there. Nice to see you. What else have we got down here? We've got those comments. Pivot Point. Nice to see you back, guys. Nicola, Jez. But yeah, look, if you want to be flagged up on the screen tonight, then get your comments coming in. All right, this is where we see them. We always love those coming in. And it's so much about you guys getting your questions our way, all right? If there's something you really want to talk about tonight, this is the show, because we have decided that we want to go a little bit more conversational tonight. Not so much hair, but we want to get real conversations. And we're going to give you a simple yes-no vote as we go through the show. So let me just give you a quick what's coming up, and then we're going to bring in our two beauts, and I'm going to show you they're looking a bit better than what you just saw them a minute ago. So coming up on tonight's show. Coming up on tonight's The Hair Show, well, once we bring them in, we're going to be kicking off with the wonderful, let's have a little bit of background music going there, with World Hair News with Jordana Cabela. She's back, she's looking bronzed, she's looking beautiful, so we'll be loving to hear how she got on there. Then we have Breki with Belle. Yeah, Georgia, she's got some great things coming our way. Agony aunt of the show, we always like it. Hairdressers Open Talk, this is back tonight. We've got a big fan of our show, big friend, Jez Barnett. And yeah, we're going to have a good old chat with everything that hairdressing has to offer. We're going to be talking big subjects. We want to talk about the recession. We want to talk about visors. We want to talk about anything that you guys really want to talk about, all right? So real conversation. We feel that you like all this a lot, but let's bring in the girls. So delighted to welcome in from the green room. Here they come, Georgia Bell and Jordana Cabela. Hi, you both.
Hi.
Yeah!
Did you enjoy your video then, Jordana?
I thought it was brilliant. Brandon, you make me laugh. You make me chuckle.
It was quality. Thank you so much for that, Brandon. We was just saying beforehand, you have now got, let me move over a bit, you have now got a new role. We want to see those videos coming in on a regular basis. I think there was a couple more there as well, wasn't there, George?
Oh yeah, I was getting him all night. He is an absolute genius. Like, he literally made my Sunday. And yeah, you can have a resident role, Brandon, on our hair show, just creating really silly, stupid videos for
man.
It'd be hilarious. Like, you need to come and do that for me, man. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Cherie, by the way. Nice to see you there. Yeah, I got that last night, Brandon, by the way. I was sitting there on my laptop. Actually, I was judging the British Hairdressing Business Awards, and it was quite intense. I think it was about 11 o'clock at night, and George says, look, you've got to see this. And, oh, yeah, it certainly gave some laughs to me. Lee's just picked up this comment here, by the way. Dom, you've had a costume change. Lots of love. Yes, I was wearing the darker colours. I thought I'd better freshen up for this evening. Say, Lee, who came onto our show today, it has been an incredibly busy day, and yeah, so enjoyed it. So Jordana, you and water do not go down too well. Just explain to everybody what's happened to you today.
So I flew home from Cyprus last night, and this morning in the salon we had a bit of another flood. But when I say flood, it was like fire brigade worthy. You know, it got to the point where we were like, this is actually dangerous for the electrics. So cleared it all up. Gonna have to get the roof redone, I think, for the salon. But it's just an old building. It's one of those things. It happens quite frequently. So I'm a bit of a laughing stock to my staff at the moment. But it's just water at the end of the day. It's just water.
It is just water. I know you got in touch with me, didn't you, Jordana? And you said, George, you said, oh, you've seen that post from Jordana, and I had a quick look. I'd just come off the Weller lives, which have been great. And by the way, I just got to mention, hi Elizabeth. I interviewed Elizabeth today. Absolutely glorious person to interview, really great. So thank you for that. Yeah, you told me about it, and I did think for a second, George, that Jordana wasn't going to be with us for tonight.
To be honest, when I saw that video on our WhatsApp group, I actually thought there's no way that Jordana is going to be presenting with us tonight, because yes, there's water, and then there's torrential rain throughout your business.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. But yeah, thankfully you're here and you can sort it out, darling.
Well, while I was in Cyprus, I was looking at the weather for the UK, and I noticed that it was so hot to the extent that it was actually matching the weather in Cyprus. And then the first day back to have that flooding because of the rain, I found out it wasn't a leaky pipe, it was the rain that happened in London earlier today. Oh my God, what's it like?
Say,
but
your
at least I've
second
had a
flood.
2-week break.
Yeah, just what you need when you get back. And by the way, Jordana says we can all go and stay at her family villa in Cyprus. How lovely. So we knew where we wanted to go to.
I'm going.
The hair show live
I
in
can't
Cyprus.
wait.
Do you all fancy it? Sponsored by Cabela.
Sponsored by Cabela.
Yeah, so just making sure I say hello to everybody, guys. Hi, Saffron. Lovely to see you here too. Yeah, so keep the comments in. As I always say every week, make sure that you're aware that we've got a 20-second delay. I don't think it's even quite that long. I think it's got better. I think it's got as better as Jordana's Skype connection, her Wi-Fi connection. So fingers crossed. It's looking good, isn't it? You did shock me at the start of the show. You said I've got a new dongle. I did look a little bit strangely at you.
I took the advice from Lee, one of our listeners and viewers. So thanks, Lee. I got my dongle. It was a long anticipated wait, but it's here now.
Yes, good stuff. Well, great connections going on. So George, just explain to everybody, why we want to bring in the conversations a little bit more tonight.
We just think that there's been a bit of a shift in the industry, that we opened after 3 months of closing. We were all anticipating a massive flood through our doors. That's happened. And now actually a lot of salons are quieting down, and actually we are going to we have hit a huge recession actually. And I feel like it's something that we need to talk about. And sometimes it's less about the how-to videos, the hair, although we always want to include that. But it's more about what's going on in the world, and actually, are you prepared as a hairdresser? Are you prepared as a self-employed person? Are you prepared as a business owner, as an employed person, that things are going to, in the next couple of months, get a lot harder? And also, there's just a lot to take in. We've been shut for 3 months, and then we've had an influx of clients through our door. And it's we just wanted to discuss that because we think it's super important. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's great, isn't it, Jordana? And what I'm going to put this question straight to you because we just want to get a bit of a vote throughout the show, and we'll keep reminding you of it. And I think the grants come out today for the second grant, isn't it, for self-employed hairdressers, and whether you're eligible to claim. It's a little bit confusing, but it got us talking about, do you feel you've been well looked after, no matter where you are in the world, UK, wherever that may be, but do you feel you've been looked after well enough by your government? by the government? And you can simply answer that question with a yes or a no in the comments, and we're going to have a look at that at the end. I'll be interested to see how many of those come in, and yeah, it'd be really interesting. I've got my thoughts on that. Have you, Jordana?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a lot to say, but before I influence your decision, give us a yes or a no.
Good stuff. Well, look, George, go on. You look
Yeah,
like
no, actually, I was just going to say I put my second claim in today for self-employed, but it does depend on what sector you're in. So I don't know whether if hairdressers are watching tonight and the partners are in a different career or whatever. You know, my partner, for instance, is self-employed, but he's a lift engineer, but he can't claim till the 19th. So don't be deterred by that and keep on trying. It's really simple to do via the government website, and you can put that claim in.
Yeah,
definitely.
so
But it doesn't.
I'm going to keep looking on the comments. As say, you'll see me. I've got lots of different things that I'm looking at, hence why my eyes are down there, up there, and so I'm watching those comments. So again, I just want you to let Facebook know that you are loving this show, because that's really important to drive the success of our show, because this is your show, the Hairdresser Show. So give us lots of loves, lots of likes, and get this shared, because that's the success of how we're going to go with this. So, are you ready for our first part of the night? It doesn't ever feel right if we don't have World Hair News. This is where Jordana picks out 3 stories that are catching her eye. So we're going to head into World Hair News with the gorgeous Jordana Cabela.
Welcome back to the world of hair news. It's great to be back after 2 weeks away from you all. And tonight's topics are going to be something that we're going to be discussing as well afterwards. So without further ado, the first news topic of tonight is, as many of us and you have anticipated, there has been an update on the latest government advice. As of the 15th of August, hairdressers and barbers must now wear surgical face masks as well as just the plastic visor. Anyone working in close contact services, including nail and beauty salons, must now wear a type 2 face covering as part of new measures to prevent the spread of the virus. Rules also require workers to change the mask if it becomes damaged or difficult to breathe through. It comes after a study conducted in the US found that 2 hairdressers infected with the coronavirus who chose to wear a face covering did not pass the bug on to 139 of their customers. News topic number 2. Now, the US government has proposed changing the definition of a shower head to allow for increased water flow, following complaints from President Donald Trump about his hair routine. Under a 1992 law, shower heads in the US are not allowed to produce more than 2.5 gallons of water per minute. The Trump administration wants this limit to apply to each nozzle rather than the overall fixture. Consumer and conservative groups argue that it is wasteful and unnecessary, but we will let you be the judge of that. News topic number 3. The UK economy suffered its biggest slump on record between April and June as coronavirus lockdown measures pushed the country officially into the recession. The economy shrank 20.4% compared with the first 3 months of the year. This pushed the UK into its first technical recession, defined as 2 consecutive quarters of economic decline since 2009. But, according to The Guardian, the Bank of England say that it may not be as bad as feared, as a lot of business activity has recovered at a modest rate since lockdown. And that's all from me.
Great stuff, Jordana. Some great topics picked up there. Where do we get stuck into this one tonight? George, should we start on the light-hearted conversation of Donald Trump?
Well, you know, all I can really say about that man is he's got really bad hair. And that's all I'm prepared to say on him, to be honest.
Do you know how much I just want to get my scissors out and tone that blonde? Oh my God.
You know, I kind of like the guy when he did The Apprentice, but now he's president, I've got no feels. So I think we should move on to the recession or the face mask, to be honest.
Less said about Donald Trump. Before we get into the recession, because I do want to sit on that, and again, keep your comments coming in, guys, because I'm watching them. Remember that yes and no. Have you been well looked after by the government? The face mask. Now, I put this up in the How to Cut It hairdressing community the other day. It created a huge amount of topics, and I do feel we are going back to this conversation regularly. But then, isn't it because things are just changing all the time? And when we talk about the face mask and the visor, we're talking about England just here. I think it, again, parts of the UK is very different. But what's your take on all of this, Jordana?
Well, I would say that, first of all, I've got a lot to say on the government thing as well, Dom, so we'll come back to that. But I had no idea, because obviously I was in Cyprus and maybe not checking the news as much as I should have. And I had no idea that we had to wear both. However, when we first came out of lockdown, I tried to, and it was a bit too restrictive. And then all of a sudden it became the law. And not a lot of people actually knew it. And I saw a post on Instagram, Creative Head, and there were loads of comments underneath saying, oh gosh, thank you so much for sharing. I didn't know this was going to happen. But the rules are different for England, Ireland, Wales and Scotland. So that's one thing to also bear in mind. But I just think, is it too little too late? You know, now the numbers are declining. Why are we upping the PPE measures? And also, why are we doing it for hairdressers, but we're not doing it in every shop? Because I was out today and I could have counted 30, 40 people on the tube, in the supermarkets. I even went to Primark before I left to go to Cyprus, and it was literally just like a free-for-all. So it makes it harder to abide by the rules. Do you think?
Yeah,
do you agree,
it's
George?
very inconsistent, is what you're saying, isn't it, Jordan? I was down in London myself the other day, and I was absolutely flabbergasted by the lack of people that were actually wearing masks. But George, you were quite vocal about this, wasn't you? You were just sort of saying, look, get on with it, stop moaning.
Yeah, like, you know what, it is a little bit inconsistent and it is a little bit confusing. You know, we've been open since the beginning of last month. We were requested to wear a mask. Now it's a mask and a visor. Clients didn't have to wear a mask. Now they've got to wear a mask. So for me, I think the rules have to be a lot clearer from the guys above. Because actually what's happening is they're bringing in new rules, and it's like anything. You're at school or you're a parent and you bring new rules in, and then all of a sudden that parent's deemed as unfair. The rules need to be set from the beginning, yes, and people need to follow them, because otherwise it's going to cause unjust and it's going to cause negativity. So, you know, I feel like there needs to be more of a rule put in place, and I think that is the problem, to be honest.
And Elizabeth has just come in here with this comment. She says, I have worn both a mask and visor since we were allowed to open. And, you know, I kind of get that. I personally haven't. I must admit, I just had a visor on, and I've got to be honest, I did feel a bit begrudging about it, just because comfort, isn't it? Another thing, you know, I just feel like I am literally living in a toy box on a shelf in a supermarket. You know, just that screen, and now a face covering. But we have to get on with it. But what worries me, Jordana, is actually what is the message that we're sending out to young people wanting to come into our industry? I'm quite fearful of that element, because, you know, young people are going to look and think, well, actually, I don't really want to work in that kind of environment.
Well, I think that's a really great point, Dom. And I think going back to George's point, yes, we do have to just get on with it. And I think you're totally right about that. But there is a little devil that sits on my shoulder and says, you know, how do they expect us to work in like 40-degree heat with all of this equipment when you can go to the gym without a face mask or go to the bars? And I think Matthew Sutcliffe, who did a podcast with you, Dom, he posted something on Instagram and it was basically a collage of two pictures. The first picture was like people at the bars going absolutely nuts, which is definitely what I would do too. And then the next picture was like someone in a hazmat suit and then saying bars versus hairdressers. And it really hit home with me, because I was like, do you know what, that is really unfair.
Yeah, come on, George.
Yeah, now I have to say, like, you know, your partner can't go into hospital with you to give birth.
So I wondered where you were going with that for a second.
I was no, like, but you can't go into hospital to be with your partner.
I totally get where you're going now.
Like, when they're giving birth, but you can be in a bar and you can sit next to a friend, but you can't be in a hairdresser's and you've got to wear a face mask, but you can't actually witness the birth of your child. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
and that's the thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Can we just clarify that your partners can go into you?
That sounded so bad. I was like,
that's going into one of our best of moment comments of the Christmas special. Saffron, she's put, I was really negative when I found out we had to, but I would rather that than shut the salon again. I think that's got to be fair comment, hasn't it?
Right.
Robert, hi Robert, loving Simon loved his scissors, didn't he? Infected cases are increasing in Europe and we're going to be next. Oh dear, I'm worried about all this. Come on, gonna need some positivity, guys. So, which leads us on to the recession. So maybe not, because in your news, Jordana, you did make me feel a little bit positive because you sort of said, you know, is it going to be as bad as, you know, what's being talked about?
Well, when I do my news topics, I do a lot of research, and in one of the research articles I read, when they compared pandemics or even what's the word for the epidemics in other countries, when they recover from it, we do recover at a quicker rate than we actually anticipate. So I thought that was good to put at the end. But the good thing is that a problem shared is a problem halved. We all have had time to sort of think about, you know, the economy is going to be different. We're all in the similar boats, different storms, wherever, but we're going to get help from the government, whereas in previous recessions, because it's not followed by a pandemic, we haven't always had help from the government. So I think this is a very different situation. We're a fast-paced, fast-moving society. We're very quick with technology. So I think there will be many business entrepreneurs that just absolutely take this as opportunities. Amazon is totally, by the way, completely benefiting from this, but we've just got to find a way to evolve. And the more we can focus our energy and our fear into, you know, positivity and making change, then I think the quicker we can get out of this, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. By the way, if you keep seeing me smiling, it's because I'm looking at your comments down here. So whenever you see me looking down to the bottom of this screen, that's exactly what I was doing. I kind of realised I'm getting comments about 10 seconds back to where we were, and obviously I went through. I kind of know where you're at that moment there. Okay, so yeah. George, where Jordana was just talking about the government help, and I've asked you all, do you feel you've been helped really well by the government through this whole pandemic? There's very few yeses or no's, so come on, be honest. Do you feel you're being given? If you feel you have, then great. If you don't, but you were saying about the tax element of this, George, that we've got to be mindful. Yeah. You think we're going to be stung?
No, absolutely. But I think, you know what, if you're a business owner right now and you're watching this show and you look at our government, I think it would be impossible for you to turn around and say that they haven't been great, because I think they have. But I think what a lot of, it's like all that glitters isn't gold, isn't it? So all of a sudden, you know, we go into a global pandemic, the government offer you 10 grand. They offer you a 15 grand loan that's cheaper effectively than your overdraft, and you think, oh my God, let's go, let's have it. But you don't think about what's going to happen in a year's time. So all of a sudden, you know, if you haven't thought about this, you need to think about it, because actually all of a sudden in a year's time, what's going to happen is your 20% tax is probably going to go to 40% tax. So you grab it and you take it and you spend it and you redo your salon and you do this and that. But actually you've not really thought about the sort of implications that this amount of money that the government's put forward to us is going to have by 2021, you know?
And Miss Sassy, she says 100% we have been treated amazing. I could hear that in her lovely West Midlands tone, Saffron. So there's definitely a lot of love coming in. So look, we will be coming back to it. Tonight is conversation, all right? So if you're wanting the hair kind of how-tos, we just decided we wanted a break. We want to just get a little bit of conversation coming into this. So we're going to go into our first bit. And I think we need to bring a little bit of humour into the show. I don't know if there's humour. I need to have a look at this Breki with Bell as we come in. So it might be quite serious again. So we'll wait and see. So George, do you want to just give us an introduction into Breki with Bell?
Yeah. So without further ado, there's a little bit about self-employment tonight. There is a little bit of funny stuff in there. But yeah, my weekly favourite thing that I like to do for the hair show, for with Dom, Jordana and Dan is Breki with Belle. Let me know what you think. Welcome to this week's episode of Breki with Belle. Remember, whatever you send to me remains completely confidential and you remain absolutely anonymous. So, this week's first question is, what do you do if you've had a member of staff with you for a while but they are actually going to leave to become freelance or mobile? Now, it's kind of an unwritten rule actually in a salon that you go and poach clients, but what happens if these clients have become really close and really good friends to you? This is a real tough one actually, because I understand from both perspectives. I've worked as a freelancer and also I'm a salon owner, so I get it. I believe that the clients that want to follow you, you will already be friends on social media platforms, that they want to go with you. I think that they will find a way of finding you and actually booking in with you without feeling the need to kind of poach or upset your boss. So the second question of this week's Breki with Belle is, in lockdown, I extended my salon and I decided to take on a series of self-employed people. This is the first time I've done it and I work to a certain standard, but what do I do if one of the self-employed members of staff that I have taken on with a contract, their work is just not very good? Their colour is rubbish, their extensions aren't blended or fitted properly. What would your opinion be on this? See, this is a tough one because actually, you know, they are self-employed. So effectively, they should be bringing their own clientele. They should be sorting their own bookings. And actually, whatever they're doing in that chair really shouldn't have any sort of worry to you at all. I think if you're after a certain standard of work, I think that ideally what you do need to do is you need to create a brand. And I think it's very difficult to create a brand with self-employed people. So actually maybe look at switching to employment. Other than that, you know, I would probably go out of my way and offer them a little bit of training and try and, you know, teach them how the kind of standard that you want. But again, if you're looking at that legally, it could be, you know, walking on glass. So the third question this week, I am a salon owner and I've just been assaulted by one of my freelancers. She has physically left a bruise on my arm. Would you terminate the contract? Would I terminate the contract? Of course I would. Run for the hills. Like, there is a line that you don't cross. And actually, if you're going to physically assault somebody, it means that she's got no regard for you, and it certainly means she has got no regard for your business. So just get rid. So this week's fourth question is, actually, do you know what? I really felt for you on this question, babe, actually. So I have had a client ring me this week to tell me that while I nipped out for a sandwich, my team was basically slagging me off and slagging the salon off in front of my client. And I've had the weight of the world to carry around trying to keep my business open because of COVID. You know what? I totally get that. And do you know what? The first word that springs to mind is meeting. It only takes one bad apple to spoil your cart. So basically, you have to be truthful, you have to be honest with them. But do you know what? You've got businesses all over the country right now. You've got Victoria's Secrets that's gone bankrupt. You've got, you know, companies that have stopped production. Anyone that's in a job at the brink of the biggest recession that we've ever experienced should be really thankful for it. However, saying that, if there is any issues, I think a team's a team and you've got to sit down and you've got to work it out together. And finally, guys, the fifth and final question of this week's Breki with Belle. This week, I've had a very nasty status written about me on Facebook by a family member of a client that we did, and it's in regards to our price increase. And they actually wrote, and I quote, I rob pensioners. However, it wasn't the client that wrote it, it was a family member, and the client that paid the price increase also tipped the stylist a £5. What would you do in that situation? Well, what can I say? Sorry to laugh. There's nothing as weird as people. I would leave it alone because you know what? You're not always going to please everybody, and not everyone is a business owner. So not everyone's going to sit down and realise why the haircut's doubled in price or why the balayage has gone up 30 quid because they don't run a business. So personally, I would leave it alone. It's not the lady that had it done that's wrote it. So maybe she'll come back, maybe she won't. But actually, you know what? Worst case scenario or best case scenario, it leaves space in your chair for someone that's willing to pay your price. So I wouldn't worry at all.
there's a few disgruntled people there, isn't there? A bruise on your arm as well. Well, where should we start there, Jordana?
I mean, I just can't get over that. I really want to know more, and I want to know how it was handled. But I mean, there's two ways to handle this. There's the professional route, and then there's that unprofessional route of just, when you deal with it in the moment. I think Lee's given us a little example of how he would deal with it there. But honestly,
I'll bring up Lee's example. Is this the one you were talking? Jordana Cabello, would have, after verbally ripped them apart and stubbed my fag out on them. Maybe don't take Lee's advice on this. Okay.
Lee's always got to get the fag in there. He's all about smoking life.
Absolutely. It's all part of the well-being process.
It's so funny. Whenever I do education with Lee, or whenever he's on my Zooms, he's there and he's smoking about 30,000 times.
We
and I
love
love
Lee.
him. I love him.
Yeah.
I love the kid.
George, keep over in that centre, George. You keep going over there.
Sorry.
You love a lead. I'm starting to lead.
I do.
Where were we going there, Jordan? So what were we just saying? I lost my bit there.
So we were on sort of bullying and physical abuse in the workplace. To be honest, I've in the past, because I used to work in Selfridges, I've got the police involved, because you can't take any chances with stuff like that, because you don't know what people might say after they've left the workplace, or do you know what I mean? You have to cover your back, and I'm not the most confrontational person, believe it or not. So I'm the kind of person to be like, I wish I did this, but I mean, if I was the boss, absolutely get the police involved. I mean, I don't know. What would you do, George?
Yeah, no, I would 100% get the police involved. But then, I'm a northern girl, so if somebody slapped me, I'd 100% be professional, because I work within the industry. That's all I can say.
Now, I want to go back to the pensioners, robbing pensioners, the pricing.
Okay, so that was about me, people. So basically,
that was about you.
Yeah, that was about me. So basically, in lockdown, we doubled our prices on our dry cuts, because I don't really want to do dry cuts anymore. And I'll tell you why, because we're not allowed as many people within our company anymore. So to do dry cuts was always a great thing when we could do colour, have a dry cut in between. Now we can't, everything's regulated. We can't have too many people in our business. So I doubled the price of our dry cuts. And I actually had somebody's son, who's based in Cornwall, write about me and say that I rob pensioners because I doubled the price of a cut. But she'd actually tip the stylist who cut it £5. So there's nothing as weird as folk.
Yeah,
but,
I think the pricing actually, George, kind of brings us back a little bit to the recession. All right. So at the start of going back, we were all very much about got to get our prices up, cover our PPE, now is the time. Are we going to get fearful about our prices, Jordana? Because, with this looming recession we are in, that people are going to start thinking, I want to go cheap again.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. We promoted recently a stylist, and when we promote a stylist in our salon, we give them about 3 or 4 months on Treatwell, which is an online booking agent. It's a bit like the old Wahanda discount services. I've never seen so many bookings come through on that, and that's because a lot of people are looking to get discounted hair services, and I've got a back-end login for it, and I couldn't tell you the amount of clicks we've had literally in the last 2 months has quadrupled what we've had in a year. And that is because I think there's so many people looking for a bargain, discount, changing hair salon. They're probably going to go a bit more local to where they live. So we have to be careful. I think it was right what we did to charge for the extra PPE. And for people like yourself, Georgia, if you do need to actually decrease some services, by all means, increase the price, because that's what naturally happens. But if you're struggling for clients, which is what I am, by the way, big confession from me, I've got no secrets. I'm really struggling for clients this month. Pretty scary times, to be honest. And I've spoken to a couple of salon owners in central London, and it's dire. And if it carries on the way it is, we won't see Christmas. So I'm really hoping this is just the August lull, as we call it. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to really, really be careful with raising my prices. I'm just going to keep the £3 add-on for the PPE, and the rest, I don't know. We might even have to decrease our prices for the recession.
God, I'm dying to jump in here, Jordana. So I've been hearing so many people saying, "Oh, really, really busy," but then there's been a lot of rumblings going on that actually it's quieter than maybe what everybody is sort of admitting. You know, I've heard a lot of people saying I'm booked right the way through till next December. Is that all your team? Is this just you? I mean, where are you, George? Are you experiencing quieter times?
No, do you know what? Thankfully, I'm really busy, but you've got to remember I'm in North England, so I am nowhere near what Jordana's prices would be for a cut and colour. You know, the average price for a cut and colour with me is hitting up at about 150 quid. So that there is more money, even though the area is poorer. However, I'm not prepared to. I've got one offer going out on Trebly, because we use Trebly, and I've got one offer going out for a treatment and a blow dry at 25 quid, and that's just to cover the white space that some of the team are getting at the moment. But I'm just not. Listen, everything's gone up. You know, my PPE is costing a fortune, my colour's costing a fortune, my peroxide's costing a fortune. So if all of a sudden I drop from 150 quid to 90 quid or 100 quid, all of a sudden I'll probably be making less than minimum wage an hour for my expertise. So why would we do it? I'd rather hang on and have less and try and be a little bit more entrepreneurial and come up with some ideas than decrease my price. Because really, it doesn't matter the amount of people that walks through my door. It doesn't matter the amount of takings I take. Actually, what matters is the amount of profit. And that's the only thing that matters.
Turnover can be wonderful, but if you've got, your net profit is what really matters. And I'm just going to flag up some comments, girls, and then maybe we can talk around that, because I'm really keen to get in some of these comments. I've already brought this one. This comes in from Hannah. Let's just bring that in, Hannah. We saw it earlier. I followed Maddie Cook calculator in lockdown and reopened with 20% plus increase in all services, and have been busier than ever with a waiting list now, and I feel that I can realise my worth. Hi Kai, we opened our new salon in 2008 and stuck to our guns on pricing, but making sure we're pitching at our target market, giving added value rather than a discount. Yes, I think it's good. I'm just gonna, you don't mind me, guys, just bringing in these because there's some great comments. I love comments coming in. Lee again, I'm with Jordana. I'm still 90% booked but slower than usual, and services are being kept minimal. Mark C, I won't say the swear word, Mark, because I never swear on screen. It's effing dire, but prices should go up at start of recession to account for inflation during recession and avoid having a catch up during recession. Oh, these comments, keep them coming. It seems to have gone quiet. I think central London has been hit. Such less footfall. Stop on that. Thank you, Paul. Paul Aristides, Hug Stylist, my good friend. Jordana,
Can
London.
I just say one thing, Dom?
Yeah.
That you need to be looking at who is going to be affected the most by the recession. That's what I've been doing as a company owner. So I've been looking at the people that are least going to be affected by the recession, and I've been creating some offers around the people that are going to be least affected, but not necessarily discounting them, but maybe giving them a free treatment with the colour or a free bond building treatment and targeting them. And that's what you need to be Googling and looking at as a business. You don't want to be targeting, as unfortunate as it is to say this, you don't want to be targeting the people that are the most affected by recession, because they ain't going to come through your door.
No, and the problem is during recessions, I've noticed myself, I know Sophie mentioned she's been through a few. I've been through a few recessions. We are pretty well placed as an industry. I will say that maybe clients hold back their appointments. And also talking about quite a period, certainly here in England, we are in, holiday season. I think that's the same pretty much for UK. So that's going to have a big effect. But I think what Paul brought up here, and this probably does come back to you, Jordana, he says it seems to have gone quiet. Think central London has been hit, such less footfall. I went to London last week. London is 75% less people, I would say. Wouldn't you, Jordana? And you live and work there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even the Starbucks a couple of doors down, they've had to close down. I've had the Zara on my high street closed down. This is really irrelevant, but Ann Summers has gone into administration. Don't ask me how I know. And there's loads of businesses that are just really struggling. And I would say, central London, we can, as much as we can get out offers, what we can't do is increase footfall. And we rely, particularly in Kensington, we rely on hotels. all of the surrounding hotels for us are closed down. We rely on a lot of young professionals who work on our high street, but they're now working from home. There's not that many residents in central London, so it's just had such a big hit. And I did a little bit of phoning around, last week, because I just felt, to be honest, really shit about myself and the business. And I phoned around and I spoke to honest people who told me we're in the same dilemma, mainly central. Once you get to the suburbs, I think there are some salons who are actually more busy and busier than ever before. And don't get me wrong, the first 2 weeks, amazing. Yeah, sales almost doubled. But when I compare that to what we're making now, we're actually at an 80% decrease. Last week, we made 20% of what we made in the first week, which is scary. Maybe it is the August thing, but where are people going on holiday if they can't fly? Maybe it's a staycation thing. I don't know. Maybe we fit too many in. Who knows? But tomorrow's another day and we're just going to get through it.
Honestly, I'm trying to keep up their comments. I'm going to flag up Simon Townley. Hi, Simon. Love our podcast today, mate. Had such incredible feedback. Love this honesty. Our salon has had a slow month ahead looking, but I'm intrigued by Jordana's comment on maybe offering discount for the stylists who are not looking busy enough.
Yes. And you know what? The Treatwell is really good at that. If you can get a little deal with Treatwell, and I think you pay per appointment, get them on there, because that they will catch all of the sort of discount hunters, and you can turn them into good clients at the end of the day.
God, this is so good. I'm really enjoying this conversation tonight, and I think you guys are you enjoying this? Hey, we're going to be bringing in lots of hair. Don't think that this will be always the same. It's just we wanted to really go deeper into it, so we are much more conversation led. But let us know, are you enjoying this conversation? Because quite clearly these comments reflect they are, and if I can't bring them all up, we'll just do. But so many great conversations. And shall we come back to this in a minute? And I think we could go in, but we are going to do another feature. We haven't done one of these for a few weeks, and this is Hairdressers Open Talk. Now, many of you have been with us right from the very start of the hair show, and that's over 12 episodes back. Can you believe it? We launched it, and Hairdressers Open Talk is where we give a platform for a speaker. So if you're maybe somebody who wants to be a keynote speaker, somebody who wants to present your thoughts on the industry, this is that point for you. So we invited out, and this Hairdressers Open Talk comes from a good friend of our show. We all know him very, very well. He's been so supportive, and that's Jez Barnett, the founder of Kerastrait Innerlux, an incredible guy. And Jez has got a big topic he wants to talk about, and that is consultations. So listen in. Your thoughts on this topic, what Jez is about to share, may divide you a little bit, but let's go to it. Hairdressers Open Talk, better known as HOT, with Jez Barnett.
Hi, I'm Jez Barnett, creator and co-founder of Kerastrait Innerlux. There's a well-known survey that reported 97% of hairdressers believe they gave a consultation to every client every time. And that survey also asked the clients, and the clients said that only 7% of them said they had a consultation every visit. So it's a huge discrepancy. But it's also a massive opportunity. If only 7% of clients believe they're getting a consultation, there's 93% to go for. So I just want to speak to you a little bit about my beliefs on consultation. I'd say to every hairdresser out there, sitting down next to the client is only great for that first moment to establish a rapport. Apart from that, it's fairly useless because you're not taking it all in. Stand up, get up, stand up behind the client and take it all in. See what they can see. Now, they say over 50% of communication is body language. So you need to really take it in and see what they're seeing when they describe their hair, as they touch their hair, and look how everything is taken on board. It's important that you have the gown off and you can see the client in their own clothes, because it's only one outfit, but it still tells more to you, tells you more about the client and how they feel about themselves than in your gowns. And the whole idea of a consultation is to be innocent. So don't look at your record cards. Don't try and know anything about the client until you have a consultation with them. And then ask more than open-ended questions. Ask really innocent questions. The less you know, the more you're going to learn. Before I started this journey, I was a hairdresser. And I realised at that time, perhaps I wouldn't be the greatest hairdresser that's ever lived. I wasn't going to be the next Trevor Sorby. But I also realised I didn't have to be. I just had to be my guest's best ever hairdresser. And for that I had to ask them questions and learn more than another hairdresser had done previously. And then I could offer suggestions that no one else has ever offered. And all I then had to do was do what I said I was going to do. So always go to consultation and be innocent. But I want to share with you something that we did in our salon as an advanced creative session. And I've done this for a few people separately afterwards. It's called the Silent Consultation. And the whole idea of this is the guest, the client, and the hairdresser don't say a word. So this is great for an advanced training night. All you can do as a hairdresser is move the hair around and look at what suits that client and look at their eyes. Look at their features. Look to see when they are engaged with what you're doing. You can bend the hair and create a fringe. You can see if it's an attractive thing on them, but most importantly, see if they see it as attractive. You can move hair sideways, asymmetric, change the parting, make it short, push it around, make it longer. You can do so much, but once the client starts seeing what could be, you then start offering options because both of you connect on there without words. So it'd be something fantastic for everyone to try, and it'd be great to hear some feedback once training sessions are on again to see the creativity that's been discovered just by taking the words away and allowing the visual to take over. So I hope that's been interesting. I hope that's been helpful, and see you all.
Jez, thank you so much. I think everybody really enjoyed that, and Jez is, I say, he's a good friend of mine, and I love that talk there. And I just heard you say in the green room there, Jordana, you just went wow about this, the silent consultation.
Do you know why? Because we're obsessed with like adding more and what else can we talk about in the consultation and what else can we cover and what else can we give our client extra. But Jez is basically saying, take it back to basics, because enough of the sort of chat, just literally show them how they can look by, like you said, manipulating the hair in different ways. Because I think sometimes there's a lot associated with a word like bob, fringe, that kind of thing, or natural curls, that people just associate things with, words. Whereas if you take the ambiguity out of that and just focus on the visuals, that's what it's all about. So I love that, Jez. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, really good. Just good comment coming in there from Paul. Great advice. I think it's important for stylists to engage on this level with clients. Lucy went, I'm going to come to you on this, George. She went, silent consultations. That would be so awkward, but so interesting at the same time. Now, you've done this with Jez, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've done this with Jez, and actually, do you know what? It's a lot about client psychology, and it's a lot about body language. And actually, what I did learn from him, do you know what? It's pretty awkward. I'm in the north of England. I'm doing a silent consultation with somebody, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" But do you know what? It was really helpful because actually, you can pick up a lot from body language. And although we have face masks now, so it's going to be harder. If you ask somebody about what they like about their hair, if they touch the front of the head, it means that they want that money piece, and it means they're quite happy with half a head of whatever. So automatically, you can cut your appointment time in half. If they touch the back of the head, it means like all of it. So actually, just by reading somebody's body language and taking that on board and looking at their eyes, what do they like? Do they like that volume? Do they like the smoothness? Do they like that colour? Do they like that texture, that curl?
You're so right, and you always get it, don't you? The thickness. People will go to the point, which is really, really troubling them. The one thing he did say there at the start, and I was always told very differently, certainly back in the days of doing the 365 consultation. Has anybody ever done that? The 5-step recipe? Yeah. But you were always told, sit down, get on a level with people, Jordana, because, you know, it made people feel more comfortable. Where Jez was saying, you know, get behind them, stand up, see what's going on. I don't know. What do you think on that?
For me, it's a bit of both, because you've got to get down on their level so that they feel you're comfortable enough to actually listen to them, because that's all about the listening part. And then when you do get behind them, that's all about the designing, and you're looking at their face structure and shape and where you can enhance which features. And I don't want to plug it too much, but seeing as I'm part of the hair show, I do a course called Mindfulness Hairdresser, and that is all available at Weller, or I think we're also going to do it online. But it covers loads of body language. It covers all the different communicative ways in which we can talk to our clients that really take away a lot of like the conflicts later down the line or any of the problems, but it also enhances the loyalty, the client loyalty, because you can get them excited about a journey and excited about what you're going to do next, rather than just always kind of falling into the same routine of same again. And you connect in a way emotionally that they are just going to love whatever you do, and therefore you increase your creativity, which then makes you happier in the salon, and then you end up getting attracted to the clients that you want to do, rather than sometimes just the ones that you don't.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, George. Sorry, I've just jumped in. I apologise, but it is a question I want to get over. And actually, you can put these in the comments, everybody. How much time do you give for a consultation? Every client that comes in your door, because this is all great hair, but you're running behind. It's Saturday afternoon. You know, how much time are you going to give, George?
So do you know what, we give 20 minutes, but this is something that I have to
20
say.
minutes for a consultation.
Yeah, and it's something that I've actually bollocked the team for quite a lot, because how many times do you get somebody walking into your salon door that's black and they want to go silver, and how many times do you get that team that kind of like laughs and says, oh, no way, never get you silver? But what I find is you've got to look into the psychology of a client, right? And quite often when a woman wants to change her hair, she's either going through something really good or really bad, and we don't know that. So for us to scoff and laugh at it and say, no, you can't get there, it's a really big thing to me, because they want to change their hair for a reason, whether they're getting out of a relationship or they're having a shit time or whatever. So the psychology of a client is actually a really massive thing to me. So I really make it aware that we do take that 20 minutes. We sit down by the side of them. We don't do it over them, and we say, you know, take us back your hair history, 12 months. I want to know what's on your hair. I want to see your inspiration pics, and I want to put your hair plan in place, because we might not be able to get there in one appointment. It might take 6 months to get there, but let's sit down and let's talk. Let's do a strand test. Let's do an elasticity test. Let's do a skin test.
Is this always about colour? Not everybody is colour. You know, this could be a cut and blow dry that we're talking about, because there's still just cut and blow dry clients out there.
Yeah, but I never consult for cut and blow dry. Maybe that's
you never consult for a cut and blow dry.
No.
Why?
Wow.
No, I don't consult for cut and blow dry, because I'll put out like an hour and 15 minutes, so I've automatically got an extra.
I don't think, I've got to be honest with you, George, I'm not with you on that one. I've got to say, I think every client should have a consultation, whatever, because it's that opportunity, surely, for somebody who may be a regular, or if you don't see their hair, I love seeing people's hair when it's dry, and gives me an idea how they like to wear it, rather than wet hair. I'm clueless. And you know, what's your thoughts on that, Jordana?
I learned cutting before colouring, so for me the consultation part is just as important with cutting, because I find that colour can definitely enhance a cut, but cut is what actually changes the facial structure of a cut. So, and when you compare it to, you know, when you do a gents cut, and I always joke that you can sometimes take one of your male clients from like a 5 out of 10 and make them a 10 out of 10 just by like designing the shape, and that's got no colour involved. So I think the possibilities are endless there. That's why I would do a consultation with a cut, because also you can end up sort of doing the same thing. And I think it's so important to educate the client on like how many different cuts there are. And when you say layers or graduation to a client, they're thinking that they're thinking one image in their head. What they don't know is like where it's going to sit. So I used to use a lot of jargon and say, we'll point and cut this and we'll front grad this and we'll not use too much of an angle and then we'll do a really nice graduation at the back. And they would just look at me like, what the is she on about? And then I started to do what my mum did, which is like literally shape the hair and show them how it's going to sit. And my God, I got so many clients from that.
Yeah. And I asked the time there. Sorry, George, I sort of picked up on that, but it's just, I think it's quite a big one, isn't it? I know we talk about colours so often. Yeah, I have so many clients that are just cuts, and I just, but a lot of people, so when you're talking, and that's why I wanted to know, because, when you're talking 20 minutes, half, that kind of fits into a big timeline for a colour appointment. But when you're talking about a cut and finish, and I must admit, I book an hour for my cuts and finishes. That's my timeline. And so if I gave myself 20 minutes for a consultation, I would always have 5 minutes. But then a consultation could take longer. Some people really, who doesn't love talking about their own hair? And that's almost an art of a consultation, isn't it? When, you say how do you open a conversation? What do you say? Same as last time? That consultations are huge to our business, and I think
absolutely. I have to say, like, if it's a colour consultation, so it's 48 hours prior to the service. But if it's a new client coming in for a cut, if I've got a regular cut client in, I'll book an hour. But if it's a new client coming in for a cut and blow dry, I'll book an hour and 15. So we'll speak about the cut before I do it, but I don't actually get clients to come in separately for a 20-minute consultation, like, before the cut. Does that make sense? I never get somebody to come in for a consultation about the cut, but I'll consult them at the appointment. It'll just be in an hour and 15 minutes. But with colour clients, I say you've got to come in 48 hours prior. But you wouldn't get that with cut clients. So, yeah, I do consult them. That was just a bit...
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry if I picked up on that, George. It's, but that's what this is all about, It's,
absolutely.
It's about... I just keep getting the feel, colour is such a big business for salons, but we can't just ignore beautifully cut hair, as Noel Colgan says. The haircut is so important still for a lot of people, and there is really good money in just a cut and finish if you are charging your prices right.
Yeah, and if you can master a haircut beautifully, particularly precision cuts, your clients are going to come back to you a lot more frequent than colour clients. So if that is a big part, if that's a small part of your business, maybe it's something to really invest in, particularly with the recession, because hair's always going to need cutting. People might get a little bit complacent with colouring as, the market of home colours become quite big and quite strong in the retail world. So maybe that's, and also the art of blow drying. We do so many blow dries at Cabela, and I didn't realise how much our business relied on it until we came back from lockdown. But we're known for our styling, and I think a really good haircut is a lot easier to style, but there is such an art to styling, which I think is also dying, because we're now also just using tongs so much we're actually forgetting how much you can do with a round brush and a blow dry or a wrap dry, and there is an art to it.
Wow, isn't this fantastic? Tonight, I have to say, we've not had one bit of hair work, and I love seeing our hair work, but God, this has been so good. What a great conversation. And it's reflected in your comments, everybody here. I just keep bringing them up, and one after the other, because it allows us to talk around your I almost think of it like when we're going to do our live, the hair show live, which we are going to do at some point. This will be kind of you and the audience, and you're throwing your questions at us. Robert, sorry, bring that up again, Robert. I like what he says here. We do 2 consultations in 2 parts, on dry hair and wet, to analyse the hair type. I think that is exactly, how we should be doing. Rosalind, I book an hour for a cut and finish, and generally 10 to 15 minutes of that is consultation. Saffron, she always says, behind every good colour. So we're at when we were talking about the cutting, I guess, at this moment. So the comments come in a little bit later. Nicola, I love cutting so much. Brilliant. It's so good hearing this. And I've referred back to the hair show live. And I keep putting the teasers out there because I am really, really serious about this. At some point when we can get out there, I'd love to do it around Salon International Weekend, but it's just too soon. Who knows what's going to happen. would you all like the hair show live? And maybe we could bring in the friends. And that's what I want to know. If you would, we would like to plan it. So again, yes. I think you're all going to probably say yes because you tuned into the show. But, you know, would you like it in London and Manchester? Where would you like that? I'm really, really keen. And I've got a great plan. And certainly if you can help us, I've got bigger plans. So become part of our Patreon and support the show. And hopefully we can bring you something very, very spectacular soon. And big thank you to everyone that is supporting us as a Patreon. It really is incredible. So, again, I'm just, yes, please. And, again, we'd like to get you guys, George. Wouldn't it be nice to get our community on the stage for our shows? Bless you, Jordana.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's about, you know, it's your show, like we said, and there's so many shows at Silent International, and they're great, but they're sort of primarily creative, aren't they? So to then bring everyone that's included and to bring up topics that people want to speak about and do a live show, whether it's in London or Manchester or wherever it is, you know, I think it's something that would just go down really, really well. And like I said, I think I did a little video for you yesterday, Dom, with the Patreon thing. It's really good for me as an educator because I'm able to put on your platform twice a month the classes that I'm doing, the academy dates that I'm launching. So yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you for that, by the way, George, because that meant a lot. And again, if you don't, this isn't a plug, but I will say about our Patreon fan club, the reason I've started this is really to start to monetize, not because I'm going to drive a Ferrari and think ha ha ha, it's because I've got so much that we want to bring you. I want these guys to be part of this. I want to make sure that we could bring you the very, very best. And for me to have that time, you know, I need to get away from that chair. So the more you can support us, the more George, Jordana, myself can bring you more, and I can get in this studio. But when I'm here, we can create great content. And yeah, part of that, what she's talking about there, I'm so against people spamming groups. You know, we see it all. And I just said to my Patreon members, you can promote some of your courses on our page, and I think it's a fair shout. You know, support it, and I'll be happy to support it. Simon said, yeah, I'd love it. Well, we'd love the Hair Socials to be in that as well. I think we could, I see a vision going on there. Many of you sort of said London, Manchester, and when we done, you know, when I created the Hair Club Live and we took that on tour with the open chair night, that was brilliant. We took that around the country. That was the first time I met you, both of you actually, wasn't it, through Hair Club Live? Jordana, you came to Manchester.
Yeah, I did.
And I came to Leeds.
And you came to Leeds. And yeah, I kind of have this similar vision, but a much more engaging show. Basically, what you experience here is what I'd like. And obviously, Dan, we're going to bring Dan onto the show as well, because Dan works tirelessly behind the scenes. He's the one who really edits the videos, the ones that you send the videos to. We're going to bring in on that. So we're going to be going forward next week. We're coming to the end of, I have to say, such a great show tonight because of conversation. So firstly, George, just tell people how they can get involved if they want to get involved with maybe a rock up and share.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, you can slide into my DMs, but failing that, you can also email Dan. I think it's Dan at howtocutIt. Yeah, howtocutIt.
Yeah, not .com, .it.
Yeah, so you can email him. We're just after short videos. We're after short content, you know, no more than 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to do a hot talk, you know, no more than 4 minutes. And then we love our how-to videos. So yeah, just you guys create the show. Obviously, we've loved doing this conversation this evening, but you know, because we feel like there's a shift in the industry, so we feel like we really wanted to do a conversational program this evening. But yeah, there's loads of opportunity for you guys to showcase your work, however big, however small, however inspirational or creative you think it is. Get it into us, guys, because we want to celebrate the everyday hairdressers.
Oh, perfectly said. And Jordana as well, Masters at Work, Hairdressers Open Talk, it's all stuff that they can get involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hairdressers Open Talk is open to people who don't normally talk to big crowds. All you have to do is film yourself talking to the camera on a topic that is a contentious issue, something that, like, for example, what we've discussed tonight. You won't remain anonymous because your face will be on the camera, but we want to open up conversation. We want to hear from your point of view, from Wales, from Ireland, from Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. Cyprus. Elaine, do one for us.
Elaine, yes, come on, Cyprus, we fancy a bit of that. Yeah, come on, let's get a bit of...
We want to get the topic going internationally. This is a global conversation, and that's what the hair show is all about. And Dom, I was getting premonitions of seeing you as almost like Graham Norton, the Graham Norton of the hair show. I could really see it in your fancy suit.
I need to trim down a bit more to get into those suits. So do you know, honestly, I think it would be. And you guys, I know it sounds, and I was today. You know, we hosted I said it earlier, the Weller global hair platform group, and it was just phenomenal. But we were talking about people that you in social media and these groups, you really feel like you're getting to know people. I have to say, so many of you I've never met in my life, but I feel I know you all so well. And isn't that so good, George, that you know this connection is really building over the last 12, and you are all such regulars of our show now, and I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing, and that's that's one of the cracking things, and one of the advantages that you've got with social media is actually you see people perform their work, do the thing, and you know it's all about building an industry, a community, and you know actually with all the topics that we've talked about this evening, we're going to need a community more so than ever. So what a fantastic opportunity.
And Dan has put the forms in the link. Now, come on, guys. It is as easy as click on that. If you haven't got a Google account, I think it's all you've got to do. We're not going to spam you. We don't share your data with anyone else, even if brands ask us to. No chance. You are honestly, we're not sharing any of that. We value you far too much to be sharing your details. It makes it super easy. You just fill out the form, attach your video, and off it goes, and you can talk to Dan. He's really cool. He's such a super fella, Dan, and
super laid back.
Oh my goodness! Certainly when he comes back from Berlin. But we'll talk about that on another time. We'll talk about that at the Hair Show Live. Okay, so look, thank you so much, ladies. So let's say goodbye to George first tonight, then, George. So shall we all say goodbye to George?
See you later. Thanks for having me. See you next week.
Okay, and the lady with the golden tan. I hope you get your flood sorted. Yeah. All right, Jordana. Bye. You take care. See you later. Bye. Yes, loved that tonight. Absolutely loved it. You guys are wonderful. I love all of you. I'm gonna flag up. I was going to put in a TikTok, but we haven't got any TikToks for you tonight. I want to just go through. Can I just bring up some of these last comments? Just because I like putting attention on to you. So, hi Lynette, she's just put, could I talk about sustainable hair? Yeah, me too. I've got a question. Sophie, how much sass in this room? We need lots of that sass. I think we need to get you on the show as well. Sophie, I've spoken to you about that. Thank you so much, guys. Show was always awesome. Robert, let's have some debates. I can see the guys going off there. I'm just going to mute them because you can probably hear them talking. So, loving the show. We're loving you guys. Yeah, just going through. Love this community. Thank you. I've got to just give a final shout. Have I got it there or not? I was hoping. Let me just see if I can bring up. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up. There we go. Simon Townley. He's been in the conversation tonight. Simon, as many of you will know, is somebody who's a great friend of the show. We're a great friend of everything that he's done with his Facebook group. But the reason, and this podcast with Simon today, I have to say is a real favour of mine, because this guy is somebody you all need to listen to. And I knew of Simon before lockdown, but I wasn't so aware of him. But this man, he really is inspirational, and that is a word that you can use too often. And he doesn't, he's had to deal with brittle bones and condition from his childhood, and he explains all about that. The hair socials, it really, you have no right to moan, and this guy does none of that. So it's really well worth you going to listen. It's on all your podcast providers. Episode 164, howtocut.it/EP164. And for all our Patreon members, you will get the extra show. Unfortunately, I've not had the time to get that ready for you, but it will be ready for you in a couple of days along with the video, because that's what you guys get. You get all that. So if you haven't supported Patreon yet, there's the little symbol, patreon.com /how to cut it. Come over there. There's all kind of tiers, £3 right up to £500. If you want to come and sit in here with me for a day, I'm going to educate you on how to create a podcast. I might even get you to sit in on a hair show as well. So there's lots there. That's going to help us really grow. And also I have to finish, lots to talk about, but I have to say thank you again to everybody at Weller. And I've had the most incredible day today because I've hosted lives from 7:30 this morning, and what are we now, 9:15. I haven't left. So thank you to Andrew Dunn and Susan Inglay of the Weller team. We interviewed Australia, Armenia, we had Elizabeth, who's been watching tonight, and then we interviewed Andrew Dunn as well. And then we've been on my favourite show with my favourite people, my favourite community. We really do value and appreciate everyone. So keep the gospel going. So I'm going to look for the finish button. So until next Monday, get in touch. Let us know what you want. But until next Monday, peace, love and smiles all the way. Goodbye.